diagonal line means the ascendant. Okay? Mercury, Moon, Sun in the first. Venus. Is that before or after the Moon? What is that? After? No, before. Avant. Avant la Lune. This is Mars. So we're not using a node. Okay, so we're just using the starry planets. We're not using our planets. And again, some people, you know, you could experiment with those things if you wanted. And this is whole sign, whole house system using sidereal zodiac. So what do we have here? This is the sign, but let's, you know, like we didn't talk much about Scorpio or anything of that stuff in the previous. We're really not looking so much at that. We're looking at the relationship. So we have any planets before the Moon?
Venus.
Venus before the Moon. So Venus before the Moon would mean what? This is what she wants to receive. What?
Love.
What?
Love.
Well, okay.
Beauty, pleasure.
Yeah. Joy wants, her mind is going to gravitate toward things that feel like harmonious, wants everyone to get along, wants things to feel connected, wants things to be beautiful. Often people, Venus before the Moon, they're interested in art. Is she interested in art? Very much. The mind's just gravitating toward beauty. Make sense? So it can be at the exclusion of other things, when it's not beautiful, when people aren't getting along, when it's not that, it's like, this is harsh. I don't like this. I want things to be, I want there to be harmony. And my mind wants to feel things that are harmonious. Any planets with the Moon? Mercury's with the Moon. So what's Mercury Moon? When she's feeling emotions, when she's experiencing her emotions, Mercury's there doing what?
Talking.
Does she talk about her feelings a lot? It's like as soon as something happens, it's like we're just talking. And you're like trying to help, and it's like, well, you said this, now you said, right? You have to just let the thing go. You have to let the Mercury go. That's just part of her process. How she's receiving her feelings in real time, how she's experiencing them, it's joined Mercury. It's like there's no separation. You see? Can you recognize that? It's not like there's like when there's no planet with the Moon, I feel something, and then it's like there's an environment that happens where the feeling is there. The feeling is a feeling. It's not an idea. It's not all this other stuff. It's a feeling. And then Mercury is somewhere else that would then maybe talk about it somehow. There's some distance. Or if it's joined, there's no space. It's like there's the feeling, and then there's the words. There's no separation. So why don't you talk about, since you brought up the chart, like how these things resonate. Well, first of all, are there any planets angular? No, there isn't.
When her sun and moon are less than a degree apart.
Oh my
There's a
gosh,
quarter
the
teaspoon
sun
of
and
water.
moon
That's right.
right together like that.
Right, so Sun, Moon, and Ascendant. So there are a lot of identifying factors here. So she's plus this is Libra and Venus before the Moon. So this is very much, this person, you got to let this person like do art, be creative, or they'll just like go out of their mind. I mean, there's like no question, right?
Absolutely.
And so, and this, like I say, not to get into a zodiac comparison, but this would be all Scorpio in the other one, and that might be interpreted a bit differently. There could be intensity here, though. You can see that it's very much about, beauty, creativity, even things like music. Is she involved with that?
She used to be.
She used to be, yeah. I mean, often you'll see that. You usually need to see a little bit more water than that, but like writing, painting, what type of stuff is she?
Fashion.
Fashion, yeah, okay. Total Venus Libra stuff. Especially Ascendant, Moon, Sun, and she's good at it. She's got Mercury there, an enormous skill. Powerful Raja Yogas here, really powerful. She'll do that, I'm sure. You can't stop her, but she's incredible yogas here. These are called Raja Yogas, when an angle and a triangle are joined in an angle or a trine. She's got Mercury, which rules the ninth, a trine, with the Moon, which rules the angle, in the first, which is an angle and a trine. This is really powerful for manifesting this kind of stuff. So she'll definitely do it.
Manifesting what?
manifesting what Moon Mercury for a Libra person means, which is to be creative and also skillful, and also she's also would be a good teacher. She would want to teach that. She probably, at least later, I don't know, 1988. What year is this? Was she 15? 22. 15.
So the moon in Libra is.
I don't know what year it is anymore. I don't believe I'm 48. So what? 22. So she's in school now, right?
No, she's got her first real job and she's going absolutely crazy and is ready to move to New York and go to FIT. The fashion institute.
Yeah, she's ready to. Yeah.
So the moon in Libra is ruled by that Venus before.
Right.
So that does that have an impact?
There's a lot going on here, and again, one of the biggest things, it's ruled by this. Yeah. This is what's called a Parivartana yoga. It's called mutual reception in Western astrology, called Parivartana yoga. We like to put this crazy word that nobody can say. When they interact like this, then they're exchanging. It's exchanging with the 12th Lord, so it shows expense, it shows loss, it shows letting go. So it's going to feel like there's a harsh quality to make this thing happen, but there's going to be a lot of support because they're exchanging, which means they're agreeing to work together. And it's good when you have friends exchange because they get along. Mercury and Venus share mostly everything. Sometimes you get exchanges between planets that are harsh, like Mercury-Mars exchange is very harsh because they don't agree on much, yet they're always interacting. So Venus is also what's called debilitated, but one of the great things about debilitated Venus, it usually has what's also called Nichabanga, which means the modification of the debilitation, and the exchange is one of the most powerful ones. Anytime planets exchange is going to be really powerful, especially for that. So those are all subtleties. Sun is also debilitated in the first. This is why the big thing, she lacks confidence, and especially with that moon changing a lot. It's like moon in the first, again, gives that, and it's a dark moon, so her, again, the identity shift thing could be going on. She can get really, like, not sure, like, I want this, now I want this, or this kind of thing. But again, this Raja Yoga really anchors that. Again, that's why you can't ever just isolate something, because this gives a lot of intelligence, mainly this Mercury in the first, because this is really powerful for giving a lot of intelligence about what feels right to the person. This is confusing though, because Mercury Moon is confusing. Moon feels one way, Mercury thinks another way, and it's dark. So she can tend to feel one way one day the next, right? Can be very kind of sort of extreme in how she's looking at things, right?
And she hasn't been not in a relationship since she's been 16 years old.
Oh yeah, very, very relationship. Yeah. Where did you see that? Where did you see wants to be in a relationship? Why does she want to be in a relationship all the time? Huh? What part about the moon shows that?
Venus.
Venus before the moon. Mm-hmm.
Can you mention, you said the trine and the square to Gemini and Cancer. Just say that
Yeah,
again.
say it again.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
run through that.
First of all, this is, of course, a literal, visceral expression. You know, we talk generally about Venus before the moon would be beauty, gravity, gravitating toward beauty, harmony. But where's the easiest way to get it? Relationship. Easiest way, right? She also food. I mean, does she always want to? She always snacking and having candy, gum. Or
She
things like
used
that?
to be.
Used to be. Okay. And you see the dashas too. She's in Saturn dasha now, so that's putting it on. But regardless, okay. So regardless, the Venus before the moon is going to make us gravitate toward that thing. And one of the biggest things to understand about each one, I actually probably should have put it when we talked about it, but each one of the planets is a karaka, or an indicator of something. Mars is the karaka of, he's literally the karaka of siblings, like what it produces. Mars is the karaka of siblings, of course, that competition. Mercury is the karaka of, he's really the karaka of interest, not of necessarily of people so much, but Jupiter is the karaka of children. Jupiter will produce children somewhere along this. Venus will produce what? Relationships, the karaka of that. So you'll find Venus before the moon, always got to have a relationship. Venus after the moon, the partner helps them, the relationship helps them integrate, right? So the planets as karakas have a big impact on this whole process. Saturn, I'm going to say, Saturn's the karaka of, like, for instance, old people. You'll see old people, traditional things, electricians.
Yeah.
No, actually, labor, laborers, hard work. Okay? But I just mainly brought that out as far as the living things and the people and the situations. Venus is definitely relationships and pleasure in all forms, but like you said she used to snack a lot and all that, right? And yeah, that probably did that and start ending around well, I don't know, maybe that's long ago. She started Saturn Dasha 2001, so things would have changed a lot around then when she would have been about 13 or 14. Was that when the snacking stuff stopped around then?
It was. She took a big shift.
Big shift
Different
then.
relationship.
Different, big shift then. So she was in Jupiter before. Jupiter likes the snacks. Saturn's like, no snacks. Screw the snacks. The other thing, again, I was telling Stephanie and you all too a little bit that the planets cast special aspects. And Saturn's aspecting Venus. So Saturn Dasha also is putting, this is an aspect. Saturn aspects 3 houses in front and 10 houses in front. So he's aspecting this Venus too, and she's in Saturn Dasha. So Saturn would put a little bit of screws on this Venus to make it less indulgent. So Jupiter's like, let's snack. Retrograde in the 8th. She was heavier then.
Yes.
Saturn Dasha, she lost weight. So 2001, you would have seen that. He's also aspecting the Venus, and Saturn, we're going to lose weight anyway. So he said about the exchange, what I was talking about, this is called a Raja Yoga. These are very, again, one of the things about Vedic astrology is it's very clear about specific things, and they show powerful results. And anytime you get an angle and a trinal house ruler, again, Vedic is very much about house rulerships. Right? Each planet is different based on the ascendant. So the angles in the trinal houses and the planets that rule them form yogas when they join in angular or trinal houses. It sounds complicated, but it's not so much. Trinal houses are houses 1, 5, and 9. So the rulers of the 1st, 5th, and the 9th houses are the trinal house rulers for any chart. For Libra, it's Venus, Saturn, and Mercury. Okay, it rules those trinal houses. Angular house lords are Saturn rules the 4th, Mars rules the 7th, Moon rules the 10th, and Venus also rules the 1st. Okay? So if you get those planets mixing in angles or trines, it forms what's called a Raja Yoga or a King Yoga, because it brings together Dharma, which is intelligence, wisdom, and what feels right to us, which are the trinal house rulers, and accomplishment, achievement, support, which are the angular houses. Okay? Angular houses give support and structure. Trinal houses give intelligence and what feels good to us. So she's got Mercury, which rules the 9th house, with the Moon, which rules the 10th house. So you bring together the wisdom and power and joy of the 9th house with the accomplishment and structure of the 10th house. They're with each other, and they're in the 1st. First is the most powerful because it's an angle and a trinal house. So that's what it is. We're not going to spend too much time on it because this is a complicated subject, but that's what it is. So this is just what's called a Raja Yoga in Vedic astrology. It brings together angle and trinal house rulers in angles or trines. And she's got them in the first. So you see how much, like, if you look at this chart, you can just know what's in this person's mind looking at those things. She gravitates toward these things. She has this process when she's experienced her feelings. Does that help you understand that, huh? And just by seeing, and I don't know how it cuts, probably in Western astrology, it's the same regardless of the signs. The signs change, but is it still Venus before and Mercury with?
Yes.
Yeah, it's still that. It doesn't change. It's the same house system. That's why I mean it's not really necessarily a Vedic thing. Sometimes you'll see things change, but usually you don't. I've looked at it plenty. Do any of the planets go angular? Is Jupiter in an angle? Is Jupiter in the 7th when you look at the Western? Or Mars? Jupiter or Mars?
No, Jupiter's in the 8th.
8th, and Mars is in the 6th still? Yeah, so usually you don't see a change. I've looked at it a lot. So it's the same. Again, what changes between the zodiac. So I use Zodiac, I use for the reasons you just saw. I described the Libra person with Raj Yoga in the first, Venus here, and using the dashas based on all that stuff. That's why I use the Zodiac in the system. Full house, full sign, not, if this is 29 and this is 8, then this is the 12th house, or none of that. It's full house, full sign. So this is the way the Vedic system works. So I used to do tropical as well, but again, when I started using the system, I use this because I find that this would describe the person better than if we had this in Scorpio and it was all that focused around Libra themes and art and all that beauty, like I saw right away. So if it was Scorpio, at least in this way of looking at it, it would be things that are much more about psychology and it's very different archetype. Could be some kind of beauty, some kind of creativity, but really Scorpio is more about personal power and really about like exploring these like deeper mysteries and often people that have a lot of planets in Scorpio, they're interested in things like you'll find like transformation and hypnotherapy or yoga and these kinds of much more intense kind of things, not fashion design. I mean that's so Libra, it's not even. Does that make sense? Anyone else have a chart? They want someone's chart? What do you know? People do. Whose chart should I say?
Me.
Okay, there were 3. So we'll get there.
We'll all get